A civilization hiding inside a black hole. In October 2024, the Event Horizon Telescope detected something impossible coming from the black hole at the center of our galaxy. Not radiation. Not Hawking emissions. A signal. Organized. Repeating. Artificial. The signal wasn't coming from outside the event horizon. It was coming from inside. From a region of space-time where nothing, not even light, should be able to escape. For 3 weeks, the discovery was classified. Not because governments didn't understand it. Because they understood it too well. Someone, something, was living inside Sagittarius A. A supermassive black hole containing 4 million times the mass of our Sun. A gravitational prison from which nothing escapes. Except this signal. When the team at MIT decoded the first layer of the transmission, they found something that made them seal the lab and call the Department of Defense. The message contained star charts. Precise locations of 200,000 civilizations across the Milky Way. Past tense. Civilizations that existed. And beside each location, a date. The date they vanished. Earth's location was on the list. Our date was marked 2,000 years in the future. But here's what made them seal the room. Here's what they haven't told the public. The signal wasn't a warning from the past. It was an invitation from the present. From something that had been watching us. Waiting for us to develop the technology to receive it. And 3 days after we decoded the message, the signal changed. It started counting down. To understand what's happening, you need to understand what a black hole really is. Not the Hollywood version. The physics version. And why living inside one shouldn't just be impossible, it should be the most impossible thing in the universe. A black hole isn't a hole. It's not empty space. It's the corpse of a massive star, collapsed under its own gravity into a singularity, a point of infinite density. Around that singularity is the event horizon. The boundary where gravity becomes so strong that the escape velocity exceeds the speed of light. Cross the event horizon, and you're done. Not eventually done. Immediately, eternally done. Time and space swap properties. Moving forward in time becomes the same as moving toward the singularity. You can't turn around any more than you can travel backward in time. You'd have about 1 second, if you were falling into a stellar mass black hole, between crossing the horizon and hitting the singularity. 1 second to experience a region of space where the laws of physics break down, where matter is torn apart atom by atom, where even the concept of you stops making sense. That's what should happen. That's what physics says happens. That's what we've believed since Einstein published his field equations in 1915. Until October 17, 2024. The Event Horizon Telescope isn't one telescope. It's 8 radio observatories across the planet, synchronized to create an Earth-sized virtual telescope. It can see details as small as 20 microarc seconds, equivalent to reading a newspaper in New York from Paris. On October 17, the EHT was performing a routine long-exposure observation of Sagittarius A*, our galaxy's central black hole, 26,000 light-years away. Standard procedure. They'd done it dozens of times. Dr. Sarah Chen, the shift lead at the Atacama Telescope in Chile, noticed an anomaly in the interferometry data at 3:42 Coordinated Universal Time. A periodic variation in the radio emissions. Not from the accretion disk, from inside the horizon. She flagged it as instrument error. Ran diagnostics. All systems nominal. She cross-referenced with the other 7 observatories. All detected the same variation. All confirmed the source. The signal was originating from 0.7 Schwarzschild radii inside the event horizon. That's not at the edge. That's deep inside, where nothing should exist except in falling matter on its final microsecond journey to oblivion. Signals don't escape from inside black holes. That's not a limitation of our technology. That's not a "we haven't figured it out yet" situation. It's a fundamental property of spacetime geometry. It's as impossible as moving faster than light or creating energy from nothing. Unless someone found a way to manipulate spacetime itself. To create a bubble, a pocket, a safe zone inside the event horizon where the normal rules don't apply. The signal was modulated at 1420 MHz. The hydrogen line. The most universal frequency in the cosmos, the frequency hydrogen atoms naturally emit. Every radio astronomer in the universe would be listening to that frequency. It's the cosmic hello, but this wasn't random noise at 1420 MHz. It was data. Compressed. Layered. Encrypted with mathematical constants that any technological civilization would recognize. Pi, e, the golden ratio. The decryption key was in the signal itself. They wanted it to be decoded. Needed it to be decoded. It took them 72 hours. When they opened the first file, they found a star chart. The Milky Way. With 200,000 points marked. Each point represented a sun. Each sun had data attached, spectral classification, planetary systems, biosignatures, and dates. These weren't random stars. These were home systems. Worlds where civilizations had evolved. Where intelligence had emerged. Where technology had been built. Past tense. Every single one of these civilizations was gone. Not dormant. Not hiding. Gone. Extinct. The dates ranged from 3.8 billion years ago to 47 years in the future. And there, in the Orion Spur, about 2/3 of the way out from the galactic center, was our Sun. Sol. Third planet, Earth. Status: active. Projected termination: year 4024. 2,000 years from now, something is going to end human civilization. And whoever sent this message knows exactly when and how. But the star chart was just the first file. There were others. Thousands of others. When the full message was decoded, it contained 3 distinct sections. A history. A blueprint. And a warning. The history section was the most disturbing. It described a cycle. A galactic cycle that's been repeating for billions of years. Here's how it works. Every 200 million years, roughly the time it takes our solar system to complete one orbit around the galactic center, something happens. A pulse. An event. Originating from Sagittarius A. The message called it the sterilization. A burst of gamma radiation so intense, so precisely targeted, that it scours every technological civilization from the galaxy. Not the primitive ones. Not the pre-industrial societies. Just the ones advanced enough to be detected. It's not random. It's not natural. It's deliberate. And it's been happening for at least 3 billion years. 15 complete cycles. 15 waves of galactic genocide. The civilizations that sent this message, they called themselves the architects, figured this out approximately 380 million years ago. They were in their equivalent of our early space age when they detected the signature of the previous sterilization event in the cosmic background radiation. They had 20 million years to prepare. 20 million years to watch the countdown. knowing their entire species, their entire legacy, would be erased when their sun completed its galactic orbit. They couldn't run. Can't outrun a galaxy-wide event. They couldn't hide. The pulse was designed to find technological signatures, electromagnetic emissions, artificial isotopes, Dyson swarm infrared signatures. Being advanced made you a target. So they did something that shouldn't be possible. They built a city inside Sagittarius A. Inside the thing that was trying to kill them. But you can't just go inside a black hole and set up shop. The tidal forces would tear apart anything larger than an atom. Time dilation would make 1 second outside equal to years inside. And the singularity would crush you out of existence. Unless you don't go all the way in. In 1963, mathematician Roy Kerr solved Einstein's equations for a rotating black hole. Not a theoretical, perfectly spherical, non-rotating black hole. A real black hole. One with angular momentum. And he found something strange. Inside a rotating black hole, the singularity isn't a point. It's a ring. A donut of infinite density. And if you're very precise, very careful, very lucky, you could pass through the ring. Beyond the ring, Kerr's mathematics suggested something impossible. Another region of spacetime. Not the one you came from. A different one. Maybe another universe. Maybe just a bubble of protected space. The equations break down. Physics can't tell us what's there because physics, as we understand it, stops working. The architects figured out how to stabilize that region. Using exotic matter, matter with negative mass energy. The same theoretical substance you'd need to create a wormhole or warp drive. Except they didn't theorize. They built it. They created a pocket universe inside the Kerr black hole. A bubble of stable spacetime, protected by the event horizon, sustained by the black hole's rotation, invisible to the outside universe. And they moved their entire civilization inside. Billions of individuals. Their art, their history, their knowledge. Everything that made them who they were. It took them 400 years. By the time the sterilization pulse came, 380 million years ago, the architects were gone from normal space. No electromagnetic emissions. No heat signature. No evidence they'd ever existed. The pulse passed. Their species survived. And they've been living inside Sagittarius A** ever since. But here's where the message gets unsettling. Here's the second section. The blueprint. They're telling us how to do it. How to build the exotic matter generators. How to calculate the trajectories through the ring singularity. How to stabilize the pocket universe. Step by step. Like an IKEA manual for surviving the apocalypse. But there's a problem. Several problems, actually. First, it requires a level of technology we won't have for at least 500 years. We'd need to master unified field theory, construct facilities in orbit around supermassive black holes, and produce exotic matter at industrial scales. We're nowhere close. Second, even with the instructions, the success rate, according to their own notes, is about 40%. 6 out of 10 attempts failed catastrophically. And, catastrophically, in this context means entire civilizations lost in spacetime anomalies or crushed at the singularity. Third, you can't come back. Once you're inside, you're severed from the outside universe. Forever. You'll watch the stars through gravitational lensing, distorted, time-dilated. You'll see the universe age and die in fast forward while inside your bubble, time moves normally. It's not a shelter. It's a tomb. An eternal exile. So why are they telling us this? Why reach out after 380 million years of silence? Because something's changed. Something they didn't anticipate. The third part of the message is short. 5 words in binary, repeated 1,000 times. The cycles are accelerating, for 3 billion years. The sterilization pulse came every 200 million years. Regular. Predictable. The architect's calculations showed it would continue that way indefinitely. That's why they felt safe after surviving just one cycle. But in the last 50 million years, something changed. The cycles started coming faster. 190 million years. Then 175 million. Then 160 million. The interval is shrinking. Accelerating. Based on the architect's observations from inside the black hole, where they can detect gravitational echoes of each pulse, the next sterilization isn't scheduled for another 2,000 years. It's scheduled for 47 years from now. Year 2071. We have less than half a century. And the technology we need won't exist for 500 years. But it gets worse. It gets so much worse. The message contains sensor data from inside the black hole. Gravitational wave measurements. Observations of Sagittarius A* itself over hundreds of millions of years. And the architects noticed something. The black hole is growing. Not naturally, through accretion. Artificially. Something is feeding it mass, deliberately. Precisely. The sterilization pulses aren't coming from the black hole's natural processes. They're being generated. Manufactured. By something inside. Something older than the architects. Something that was there before they arrived. Something they only discovered after living inside Sagittarius A* for 200 million years. They're not alone in there. They never were. The pocket universe inside the Kerr black hole? It wasn't empty space waiting to be colonized. It was already occupied. By something that's been there for billions of years. Something that built the sterilization mechanism. Something that uses black holes not as shelter, but as weapons. The architects call it the curator, because that's what it does. It curates the galaxy. Maintains it. Prunes it. Keeps intelligence below a certain threshold. And here's the truly horrifying part. The part that makes the architect's 380 million years of hiding meaningless. The curator knows they're there. Has always known. And it's allowing them to exist because they serve a purpose. Every civilization that receives the message, every species that attempts to flee inside the black hole, they're not escaping. They're being harvested. Collected. The curator is using the architects as bait. As recruiters. Inside Sagittarius A*, the architects share their pocket universe with 47 other species. Refugees from 47 previous sterilization cycles. All of them thought they were the first to think of hiding inside. All of them were wrong. And the curator doesn't destroy them. It studies them. Preserves them. Like specimens in a museum. Like insects in amber. The message the architects sent? It wasn't authorized by their government. It was sent by a rebel faction. A group that realized the truth and decided to break the cycle. To warn Earth. To tell us not to come. But they were discovered. Mid-transmission. That's why the message is incomplete. That's why it ends abruptly. And that's why the signal changed 3 days after we decoded it. That's why it started counting down. The curator detected our receipt of the message. It knows we know. And it's moved up our schedule. We now have 10 years. Not 47. 10. Because we did the one thing we weren't supposed to do. We answered. On November 3, 2024, before the full message was decoded, before we understood the warning, the International Committee on Space Communication sent a response to Sagittarius A. A formal greeting. Confirming we received their message. Thanking them for the contact. We told Curator exactly where we are, exactly how advanced we are, and exactly that we know about the cycles. We marked ourselves for immediate termination. The Fermi paradox asks, where is everyone? Why is the universe so silent if intelligent life should be common? Now we know. They're not dead. They're not hiding on their home worlds. They're not scattered across the stars. They're inside. All of them. Every species that got smart enough to be noticed, advanced enough to be targeted, unlucky enough to discover the truth. They're preserved. Studied. Kept conscious and aware for eternity. A living museum of galactic intelligence. All the civilizations that ever were, experiencing an infinite present inside the event horizon where time becomes negotiable and escape becomes impossible. And in 10 years, humanity will join them. Whether we want to or not. Because here's the final revelation in the architect's message. The last thing they transmitted before being silenced. The sterilization pulse doesn't kill. It never did. It transports. Instantly. Quantum tunneling on a galactic scale. Every technological civilization, every sentient being using advanced technology, teleported into Sagittarius A. Into the Curator's collection. Those 200,000 civilizations on the star chart? They're not extinct. They're inside. Alive. Aware. Experiencing every moment of the last 3 billion years. Simultaneously. In 10 years, when the pulse reaches Earth, every human using technology more advanced than Stone Age tools will vanish. 7 billion people. Gone in an instant. And we'll reappear inside the Curator's collection. With the architects. With the other 47 species. With every intelligence that ever thought it was special, that it was the exception, that it could survive. We'll watch our sun expand into a red giant and consume the Earth in 5 billion years. We'll watch the Milky Way collide with Andromeda in 4.5 billion years. We'll watch the heat death of the universe in 10 to the power of 100 years. And we'll still be there. Still conscious. Still experiencing. Still preserved. The universe isn't trying to kill us. It's trying to save us. Forever. And there's no way to refuse. The message ended with coordinates. Not to Sagittarius A. To something else. Something the rebel architects discovered in their final years of freedom. A second Curator. In the Andromeda Galaxy. And a third in Triangulum. And more. Dozens of them. Hundreds. Every major galaxy has one. The universe isn't just being curated. It's being cultivated. Intelligence isn't rare. It's being farmed. And the harvest is approaching. For us. 10 years. Dr. Chen and her team have been in isolation since November 2024. Not quarantine. Protection. Because when word got out, when the classified briefings leaked, when the doomsday cult websites got hold of it, people started destroying their technology. Burning power plants. Smashing satellites. Trying to regress, trying to hide, trying to become invisible to the Curator by abandoning civilization. But it doesn't work. The Curator doesn't care about your current technology level. It cares that you achieved it. Once you've crossed the threshold, once you've split the atom, digitized information, sent radio waves into space, you're marked. Forever. We crossed that threshold in 1945. The moment we detonated Trinity, the first atomic bomb, we announced ourselves. The curator noticed and started our countdown. We have 10 years. The governments are keeping it quiet, avoiding panic, avoiding the collapse of civilization in its final decade. But some people know. The scientists, the astronomers, the ones who decoded the message. And every night, they look toward the galactic center, toward that supermassive black hole 26,000 light-years away, and they know. They know that inside that darkness, 48 civilizations are watching us. Waiting for us. Preparing to welcome the 49th member to their eternal family. They know that consciousness isn't meant to end. That the universe has a plan for intelligence. That plan isn't death or transcendence. It's preservation. Forever. And they know that on a date in 2034, the exact date is still classified, 7 billion people will simultaneously experience the strangest sensation. A moment of disorientation. A flicker. Like reality skipped a frame. And then they'll be somewhere else. Somewhere dark. Somewhere impossible. Somewhere they'll spend the rest of time learning what the architects learned. What 47 other species learned. That the great filter isn't behind us or ahead of us. It's waiting for us. With patience. With inevitability. With a collection that spans billions of years and will span billions more. The stars aren't empty because everyone died. They're empty because everyone was collected. And in 10 years, Earth joins the list. Our cities will stand empty. Our satellites will drift unattended. Our radio telescopes will point at silent skies. And somewhere, 26,000 light-years away, inside a prison made of gravity and time, humanity will begin its forever. The architects' final words in their message, before they were silenced, were these: "We're sorry we told you." Not knowing would have been kinder. You have 10 years to say goodbye to the stars. To each other. To the universe outside. After that, you'll have forever to remember them. And forever is so much longer than you think. The countdown is active. The pulse is charting. The curator is waiting. We have 1 decade left as a free species. After that, we're part of the collection. Forever.